Let me tell you something I have observed after more than 3 decades of practicing medicine and caring for patients as they move through the second half of their lives. There is a pattern I began noticing years ago, something so common that I now expect to hear it during almost every appointment with someone over 60. They sit across from me, often looking tired even though it is mid-morning, and they tell me they cannot sleep the way they used to. They wake up multiple times during the night. They lie in bed for hours waiting for sleep to come. They feel exhausted when morning arrives, even after spending 8 or 9 hours in bed. And almost always, when I start asking questions about their evening routine, I discover they are doing something just before bed that is destroying the quality of their sleep. Most people have no idea this habit is the problem. They blame age, they blame stress, they blame everything except the one thing they have complete control over. I want you to think about what you do in the hour before you go to bed. Really think about it. Do you eat something? Do you watch television? Do you scroll through your phone? Do you have a glass of wine or a cup of tea? These small choices, the ones that seem harmless or even helpful, are often the very things that prevent your body from entering the deep restorative sleep it desperately needs. And the tragedy is that most people continue these habits for years, even decades, wondering why their sleep keeps getting worse as they age. They accept poor sleep as inevitable, as just another burden of getting older. But I am here to tell you that this is not true. Poor sleep is not an unavoidable consequence of aging. In most cases, it is a consequence of habits we can change. After treating thousands of patients and watching how their choices affect their health over time, I can say with absolute certainty that sleep is one of the most powerful tools we have for maintaining health as we age. Good sleep protects your heart. It protects your brain. It strengthens your immune system. It regulates your hormones. It reduces inflammation throughout your body. When you sleep deeply and consistently, your body repairs itself at the cellular level. Your brain clears out toxins that accumulate during the day. Your muscles rebuild. Your memories consolidate. Everything in your body works better when you sleep well, and everything starts to break down when you do not. But here is what most people do not understand. The quality of your sleep is not determined by how long you lie in bed. It is determined by what happens during the hours before you lie down. Your body needs time to prepare for sleep. It needs signals that tell it to start winding down, to shift from the active state of daytime into the restorative state of nighttime. When you disrupt these signals with the wrong foods, the wrong drinks, the wrong activities, or the wrong light exposure, you make it almost impossible for your body to enter deep sleep. You might fall asleep eventually, but you will not stay asleep. You will not cycle through the stages of sleep your body needs. You will wake up feeling like you never truly rested. Let me be very specific about what I see people doing wrong. The most common mistake, the one that affects more of my patients than any other, is eating too close to bedtime. I cannot count how many times someone has told me they have trouble sleeping, and when I ask what they eat in the evening, they describe a large meal at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, sometimes even later. They finish dinner and go directly to bed within an hour or two, and then they wonder why they wake up at 2 in the morning feeling restless or uncomfortable. Your body cannot sleep deeply while it is still digesting food. Digestion requires energy. It requires blood flow to your stomach and intestines. It raises your core body temperature. All of these processes are the opposite of what your body needs to do to fall asleep and stay asleep. When you eat a heavy meal late at night, especially one that contains a lot of fat, protein, or sugar, You are asking your digestive system to work overtime during the exact hours when your body should be resting and repairing itself. This creates a conflict inside your body. Part of you is trying to sleep. Part of you is trying to digest. Neither process happens well. You end up in a shallow, disrupted state that is neither true rest nor full wakefulness. And if you do this night after night, year after year, you never give your body the chance to experience the deep sleep it needs to stay healthy. I have had patients who struggled with sleep for years, who tried sleeping pills and melatonin and expensive mattresses and sound machines, and none of it helped. But when they finally made one simple change, when they stopped eating 3 hours before bed, their sleep transformed within days. Suddenly they could fall asleep faster. They stayed asleep longer. They woke up feeling actually rested. It was not a miracle. It was just basic human physiology. When you stop forcing your body to choose between digestion and sleep, it can finally do what it was designed to do. But eating is not the only problem. Drinking certain things before bed can be just as disruptive, sometimes even more so. I am talking about alcohol. So many people believe that a glass of wine or a nightcap helps them sleep. They feel relaxed after drinking. They feel drowsy. They fall asleep more easily. And they conclude that alcohol must be good for sleep. But this is one of the most dangerous misconceptions I encounter in my practice. Alcohol does not help you sleep. It sedates you, and sedation is not the same thing as sleep. When you drink alcohol before bed, you might fall asleep quickly, but the quality of that sleep is terrible. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep, the stage of sleep where your brain processes emotions, consolidates memories, and performs crucial mental maintenance. Without adequate REM sleep, you wake up feeling foggy and unrested, even if you spent 8 hours in bed. Alcohol also relaxes the muscles in your throat, which can worsen snoring and sleep apnea, conditions that become more common as we age. And as your body metabolizes the alcohol during the night, usually a few hours after you fall asleep, it causes a rebound effect that wakes you up or pulls you into lighter stages of sleep. This is why people who drink before bed often wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and cannot fall back asleep. I have seen this pattern destroy the health of so many patients. They drink every night to relax. Their sleep gets worse. They feel more tired and stressed during the day. So they drink again the next night, hoping it will help. The cycle continues, and their health deteriorates. Their blood pressure rises. Their risk of heart disease increases. Their cognitive function declines. Their mood suffers, all because they are chasing the feeling of relaxation that alcohol provides, while ignoring the damage it does to their sleep and their body. If you are someone who drinks before bed, I want you to consider stopping, even just for 2 weeks, and see what happens. You might be surprised at how much better you feel. You might discover that you do not actually need alcohol to fall asleep. You just need to give your body the right conditions for natural sleep. And those conditions do not include sedation. They include a calm mind, a cool room, a dark environment, and a body that is not working to metabolize toxins. Now let me talk about something else that disrupts sleep in ways most people never consider: light. Specifically, the blue light that comes from screens, televisions, computers, tablets, phones. These devices emit a type of light that tells your brain it is still daytime. Your brain has an internal clock, a circadian rhythm that has been shaped by millions of years of evolution. For almost all of human history, people went to sleep when it got dark and woke up when the sun rose. Our bodies are still designed to follow this pattern. When your eyes detect bright light, especially blue light, your brain stops producing melatonin, the hormone that makes you feel sleepy. When it gets dark, your brain starts producing melatonin and you begin to feel tired. But modern life has disrupted this ancient rhythm. We live in a world of artificial light. We stare at screens until the moment we close our eyes, and then we wonder why we cannot fall asleep. I see patients all the time who tell me they watch television in bed or scroll through their phone for an hour before trying to sleep. They think they are winding down, they think they are relaxing, but they are actually doing the opposite. They are telling their brain to stay awake. They are suppressing melatonin production. They are keeping their nervous system in an alert, stimulated state. And then they lie there in the dark, frustrated, unable to understand why sleep will not come. The solution is simple, though not always easy. You need to reduce your light exposure in the evening, especially in the hour or two before bed. Turn off the television. Put your phone in another room. Dim the lights in your home. Let your body start producing melatonin naturally. Let your brain begin the process of transitioning from wakefulness to sleep. If you absolutely must use a screen, at least use the settings that reduce blue light, though I will tell you honestly that even with those settings, you are still exposing yourself to more light than your body needs at that hour. I know this is hard for many people. We have become so accustomed to screens, to constant stimulation, to filling every quiet moment with something to watch or read or scroll through. But I am asking you to consider what you are trading for that stimulation. You are trading deep, restorative sleep. You are trading mental clarity. You are trading energy and vitality. You are trading years of healthy life, because poor sleep does not just make you tired, it increases your risk of dementia. It weakens your heart. It raises your blood sugar. It accelerates aging at every level. There is also the matter of temperature. Your body needs to cool down to fall asleep. This is not optional. It is a biological requirement. Your core temperature drops as you prepare for sleep and reaches its lowest point in the early hours of the morning. When you keep your bedroom too warm, you make it harder for this natural cooling process to happen. I have patients who keep their bedroom at 75 or even 80 degrees because they do not like feeling cold, but then they struggle to fall asleep and wake up sweating in the middle of the night. The ideal temperature for sleep is cooler than most people think, usually somewhere between 60 and 67 degrees. You might need to use blankets, and that is fine, but the air around you should be cool. Taking a hot shower or bath right before bed can also interfere with this cooling process. The heat raises your core temperature at exactly the wrong time. If you enjoy a warm bath or shower in the evening, and many people find it relaxing, try to do it at least an hour before you plan to sleep. This gives your body time to cool back down. In fact, the cooling process that happens after you get out of a warm bath can actually help trigger sleepiness if you time it correctly. But if you go from a hot shower directly into bed, you are working against your body's natural rhythm. Now I want to address something that might surprise you: exercise. Most people know that regular physical activity improves sleep quality. This is absolutely true. People who exercise regularly tend to fall asleep faster, sleep more deeply, and wake up feeling more rested. But the timing of exercise matters more than most people realize, especially as we get older. Vigorous exercise raises your heart rate, increases your core temperature, and activates your nervous system. These are all states that are incompatible with sleep. If you exercise too close to bedtime, you make it harder to fall asleep, even though exercise is generally good for sleep overall. I usually recommend that people finish any intense physical activity at least 3 to 4 hours before bed. This gives your body time to return to a calm, cool state. Morning or afternoon exercise is ideal for most people. But if the only time you can exercise is in the evening, try to keep it moderate and finish early enough that your body has time to wind down. A gentle walk after dinner is fine. A high-intensity workout at 9 o'clock at night is not. Let me also mention caffeine, because this is another area where people make mistakes without realizing it. Everyone knows that drinking coffee right before bed is a bad idea, but what most people do not know is that caffeine stays in your system much longer than you think. The half-life of caffeine is about 5 to 6 hours. That means if you have a cup of coffee at 4 in the afternoon, half of that caffeine is still in your body at 10 o'clock at night. And even though you might not feel wired or jittery, that caffeine is still affecting your brain, still interfering with your ability to enter deep sleep. As we age, our bodies become even more sensitive to caffeine. What you could tolerate in your 30s or 40s might now be keeping you awake at night without you even realizing it. I generally recommend that people over 60 stop consuming caffeine by early afternoon at the latest, and for some people, even that might be too late. If you are having trouble sleeping, try cutting off caffeine by noon and see if it makes a difference. You might discover that your afternoon tea or soda has been quietly sabotaging your sleep for years. There is one more thing I need to talk about, and it is perhaps the most overlooked factor in sleep quality: stress and worry, the thoughts you carry into bed with you. So many of my patients lie down at night and immediately their mind starts racing. They think about everything they need to do tomorrow. They worry about their health, their finances, their family. They replay conversations from the day. They plan and problem solve and ruminate. And sleep becomes impossible because their nervous system is activated, their stress hormones are elevated, and their brain is running at full speed. This is where an evening routine becomes essential. Not just avoiding food and screens and caffeine, but actively doing things that calm your mind and signal to your body that it is time to rest. This might be reading a physical book, it might be gentle stretching or breathing exercises, it might be writing in a journal to get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper, it might be listening to calm music or practicing meditation. The specific activity matters less than the intention behind it. You are creating a transition between the demands of the day and the rest of the night. You are giving your mind permission to let go. I know this can feel impossible for people who are dealing with real stress, real problems, real worries. I am not suggesting you can simply think your way out of anxiety or that relaxation techniques will solve everything. But I am saying that carrying all of that stress into your bed, into the hours when your body desperately needs to rest, does not help you solve anything. It only makes you more tired, more depleted, less able to handle those challenges the next day. Learning to set boundaries around your worry, even just for the hours between bedtime and morning, is not indulgent. It is necessary for your health. What I want you to understand is that all of these things work together. It is not just about avoiding one thing or doing one thing right. It is about creating an entire environment and routine that supports sleep. Your body is incredibly intelligent. It knows how to sleep. It has been doing it since before you were born. But you have to give it the conditions it needs. You have to stop fighting against your own biology with late meals and alcohol and bright screens and warm rooms and caffeine and stress. I have watched so many patients transform their health by simply improving their sleep. They lose weight without changing their diet because their hormones rebalance, their blood pressure drops, their mood improves, their memory sharpens, their energy returns. They feel like themselves again. And it all started with something as simple as stopping eating 3 hours before bed, or putting their phone away at night, or keeping their bedroom cool and dark. This is what I mean when I talk about prevention. This is what I mean when I say that small choices compound over time. You might think it does not matter if you eat at 9 o'clock tonight, or if you have a glass of wine, or if you watch television in bed. And maybe for one night it does not matter that much. But when you do these things every night for years, for decades, you are steadily eroding the foundation of your health. You are robbing yourself of the deep, restorative sleep that your body needs to repair itself, to fight disease, to maintain cognitive function, to regulate your metabolism, to keep your heart strong. And the opposite is also true. When you commit to protecting your sleep, when you make it a priority, when you create habits that support it, you are investing in every aspect of your health. You are giving yourself the best possible chance to age well, to stay sharp, to remain independent, to enjoy your life. Sleep is not a luxury. It is not something you can sacrifice in exchange for productivity or entertainment or convenience. It is a biological necessity, as essential as food and water. I say this not to make you feel guilty about your current habits, but to empower you, because unlike so many aspects of aging that are beyond your control, sleep is something you can influence. You cannot stop time. You cannot change your genetics. But you can decide what you do in the hour before bed. You can decide whether to eat that late snack or wait until morning. You can decide whether to pour that glass of wine or drink water instead. You can decide whether to scroll through your phone or read a book. You can decide whether to keep your bedroom at 78 degrees or turn it down to 65. These decisions might seem small in the moment, but they are not small in their impact. They are the difference between waking up exhausted and waking up restored. They are the difference between declining cognitive function and maintaining mental clarity. They are the difference between surviving and truly living. And you have the power to make these decisions every single day. After all these years in medicine, after seeing thousands of patients navigate the challenges of aging, I can tell you that the people who age best are not the lucky ones. They are the disciplined ones. They are the ones who understand that health is built through daily choices, through small acts of self-care repeated over time. They are the ones who respect their body's needs even when it is inconvenient. They are the ones who protect their sleep like the precious resource it is. You are not too old to change these habits. You are not too set in your ways. Your body is still capable of deep healing sleep if you give it the chance. But you have to be willing to make changes. You have to be willing to examine your evening routine honestly and identify what is not working. You have to be willing to experiment, to try something different, to stick with new habits long enough to see results. Start tonight if you can. Pick one thing. Maybe you stop eating 3 hours before bed. Maybe you put your phone in another room. Maybe you lower the temperature in your bedroom. Do not try to change everything at once. Just pick one thing and commit to it for 2 weeks. Pay attention to how you feel. Notice if you fall asleep more easily. Notice if you stay asleep longer. Notice if you wake up feeling different. Let your own experience guide you. And if one change helps, add another. Build on your success. Create a routine that works for your life, for your body, for your needs. There is no perfect formula that works for everyone, but there are principles that apply to all of us, and those principles are rooted in biology, in the way your body was designed to function. I think about all the patients I have cared for over the years, the ones who listened and made changes and saw their health improve, and the ones who dismissed these suggestions as too simple or too inconvenient and continued to struggle. The difference between these two groups was not intelligence or resources or luck. It was willingness. Willingness to take responsibility for their own health. Willingness to believe that their choices mattered. Willingness to act on what they knew to be true. You have that same choice in front of you right now. You can continue doing what you have always done and continue getting the results you have always gotten, or you can decide that your sleep, your health, your quality of life is worth protecting. You can decide that the habits you have formed are not permanent, that you can change, that you can sleep better, that you can feel better. I am not promising this will be easy. Changing long-standing habits never is. You will have nights when you forget or slip back into old patterns. You will have moments when a late dinner or a glass of wine or an hour on your phone seems harmless or even necessary. And maybe occasionally it is. But I am asking you to make the exceptions actually be exceptions, not the rule. I am asking you to build a foundation of healthy sleep habits that you return to most nights, even when life gets messy or stressful or unpredictable. Because here is the truth that I have learned after decades of watching people age. The quality of your later years is largely determined by the choices you make right now, not the choices you made 20 years ago, not the choices you will make someday in the future. The choices you make today, tonight, in the hour before you go to sleep, those choices accumulate, they compound, they shape your health in ways you might not see immediately, but will absolutely feel over time. Sleep is where your body heals. It is where your brain clears itself of toxins. It is where your immune system strengthens. It is where your heart rests. It is where your whole system resets and prepares for another day. When you protect that process, you protect everything. When you disrupt it, you undermine everything. So I am asking you, as someone who has spent a lifetime caring for people as they age, to take your sleep seriously, to recognize it as the powerful health tool it is, to stop doing the things that destroy it and start doing the things that support it. Your body is still on your side. It still wants to heal. It still wants to rest. It still wants to serve you well, but you have to meet it halfway. You have to give it what it needs. And what it needs most, especially after 60, is deep, uninterrupted, restorative sleep, the kind of sleep that only comes when you prepare for it properly, when you create the right conditions, when you respect your own biology. That sleep is available to you. It is within your reach. You just have to be willing to make the changes necessary to claim it.